Urgent. New moon in Gemini. The seed you plant now grows into the next 7 years of your life. There is a planting window opening that will not exist in this form again for 84 years. On May 30th, the new moon arrives in Gemini, the same sign that Uranus entered just weeks ago for a 7-year transit that will revolutionize how you think, communicate, learn, and connect. Every new moon is a planting window. Every new moon says, set an intention, press a seed into the soil, begin something in the dark that the coming weeks will grow into visibility. But this new moon is not planting into ordinary soil. This new moon is planting into ground that Uranus just broke open. And what is planted in freshly broken ground does not grow the way ordinary seeds grow. It grows at the scale and the speed and the revolutionary quality of the force that prepared the soil. The seed you plant on May 30th is not a monthly intention. It is the first living thing you place into the 7-year landscape that Uranus in Gemini is creating. And what takes root here, in the first new moon of the revolution, in the first dark moon planting of the new Gemini era, will still be growing, still developing, still producing fruit 7 years from now when Uranus finally leaves this sign. By the time this video is over, you will understand why this specific new moon carries a weight that no other new moon this year approaches, what the specific quality of Uranus-disrupted soil does to the seeds planted in it, and what each sign of the zodiac should be planting in the Gemini territory of their chart before this window closes. Stay here, because planting windows close, and this one, the first new moon in a sign that just received the most disruptive force in the solar system, will not repeat in any living person's lifetime. Let me start with what a new moon actually is. Every month, the moon completes its cycle and arrives at the same degree as the sun, invisible, dark, hidden in the sun's light. This is the new moon, the moment of zero visibility, the moment when nothing is illuminated and everything is potential. In agricultural traditions stretching back thousands of years, the new moon was the planting time, the period when seeds were pressed into the soil specifically because the darkness provided the conditions for germination. Seeds do not germinate in light. They germinate in darkness, in the specific, protected invisibility of soil that has not yet been disturbed by the revealing force of the full moon. The new moon says, what you begin now begins in the dark. It will not be visible immediately. It will not produce results this week. It will germinate in the specific conditions of new moon darkness, and what emerges when the light returns will carry the quality of whatever was planted with genuine intention during the invisible phase. This is why new moons are the most powerful intention-setting windows of the monthly cycle, not because of mystical properties, because of the specific relationship between darkness and beginning, between invisibility and potential, between the act of pressing something into the ground and trusting that what the ground does with it in the dark will produce something worth seeing when the light arrives. Now here is what makes this new moon categorically different from every other new moon this year. Gemini just received Uranus. On April 25th, 5 weeks before this new moon, Uranus crossed into Gemini for the first time in 84 years and began a 7-year transit that will fundamentally restructure the territory Gemini governs. Communication, information, thinking, learning, daily exchange, the specific architecture through which the human mind connects one piece of reality to another. Uranus in Gemini is a revolution in consciousness, not in the abstract philosophical sense, in the specific daily sense. How you receive information, how you process what you hear, how you form the thoughts that become the words, that become the conversations, that become the decisions, that become the life you are living. All of that, being revolutionized for 7 years. And the new moon on May 30th is the first new moon that occurs in this revolutionized territory, the first planting window in the new soil. the first seed that enters the ground. Uranus just broke open. Think about what that means. When Uranus enters a sign, it does not gently rearrange the furniture. It breaks the floor open. It disrupts the existing architecture so thoroughly that what was there before cannot simply be restored. It must be reimagined from the foundation up. The soil of Gemini's territory has just been broken by the most disruptive force in the solar system. And into that broken, fresh, revolutionary soil, the new moon says plant. Not next month, not when things settle. Now, while the disruption is still fresh, while the soil is still loose, while the ground has not yet hardened into a new arrangement. Plant now, because what takes root in freshly broken ground grows differently from what takes root in settled ground. It grows faster. It grows deeper. It grows in directions that the old arrangement of the soil would not have permitted. The seed you plant in this new moon will grow at Uranus speed. Not the speed of the ordinary monthly cycle, the speed of a 7-year revolution. Here is what to plant. Because not every seed belongs in this soil. Uranus-disrupted Gemini soil is specifically receptive to seeds that involve how you think, how you communicate, how you learn, and how you connect. The intention you set on May 30th should be in one of these territories. Not a vague intention, a specific one. How do I want to think differently? What new way of learning am I ready to begin? What kind of communication am I planting the first seed of? What connection to an idea, to a practice, to a person, to a way of processing reality am I pressing into this revolutionary soil? The specificity matters because Uranus does not grow vague intentions. Uranus grows specific disruptions. A vague seed in Uranus soil produces vague disruption, chaos without direction. A specific seed in Uranus soil produces specific revolution, the precise restructuring of the territory the seed was designed to grow in. Here is where this new moon lands for each sign. If you are Gemini or Gemini rising, the new moon is in your first house. The seed is identity itself. Plant the version of yourself that the 7-year revolution is building. The specific intention about who you are becoming in the Uranus era. This is the most powerful first house new moon you will experience in 84 years. If you are Sagittarius or Sagittarius rising, the new moon is in your 7th house. The seed is relational. Plant the partnership intention that matches the revolutionary communication landscape. How you connect with the most important person is being restructured. Plant the seed of the new dynamic. If you are Virgo or Virgo rising, the new moon activates your 10th house. The seed is professional. Plant the career intention that grows from the new way of thinking. The professional identity is being restructured by Uranus in your career house ruler's sign. If you are Pisces or Pisces rising, the new moon is in your 4th house. The seed is foundational. Plant the home intention, the roots intention, the emotional architecture of the private life that supports the person you are becoming in the revolution. If you are Aries or Aries rising, the new moon activates your 3rd house. The seed is communicative. Plant the intention about daily thinking, daily exchange, the specific quality of how you process and share information. Mercury's territory. Being revolutionized. If you are Taurus or Taurus rising, the new moon is in your 2nd house. The seed is about value. Plant the intention about what you invest in, what you consider worth your resources, how you assess value in a world where the information landscape has changed. If you are Cancer or Cancer rising, the new moon activates your 12th house. The seed is invisible. Plant the intention in the deepest interior, the spiritual practice, the private discipline, the seed that grows in total darkness and feeds everything visible. If you are Leo or Leo rising, the new moon is in your 11th house. The seed is collective. Plant the intention about community, networks, the future you are building with others in the new communication landscape. If you are Libra or Libra rising, the new moon activates your 9th house. The seed is philosophical. Plant the intention about belief, meaning, the framework through which you understand what the revolution means. If you are Scorpio or Scorpio rising, the new moon is in your 8th house. The seed is transformative. Plant the intention in the deepest shared territory, how power is shared, how vulnerability is exchanged, how intimacy communicates. If you are Capricorn or Capricorn rising, the new moon activates your 6th house. The seed is daily. Plant the intention about the daily practice, the health routine, the specific structure of the ordinary day that supports the 7-year building. If you are Aquarius or Aquarius rising, the new moon is in your 5th house. The seed is creative. Plant the intention about what you create, what gives you joy, how the revolutionary landscape expresses through your creative output. Here is the specific practice for May 30th. Before the new moon peaks, find a moment of genuine quiet. Take a piece of paper. Write one sentence that begins with, "In the next 7 years, I am planting the seed of," and finish the sentence with the most specific intention you can name in the Gemini territory of your chart. The territory that involves how you think, how you communicate, how you learn, or how you connect. Not vague, specific. The specificity is the seed's shape. A shapeless seed produces shapeless growth. A shaped seed produces what it was designed to produce. Fold the paper once. Place it somewhere you will see it for the next week. Not to remind you of the intention, but to remind you that the seed is in the ground. The ground is doing its work. The darkness is doing its work. The seed does not need your attention to germinate. It needs your trust. When the full moon arrives 2 weeks later and illuminates what has been growing in the dark, the first evidence of the seed's growth will be visible. Not the completed plant, the first green shoot. The first sign that what was planted in revolutionary soil has taken root. That first sign is the confirmation that the 7-year growth has begun. And what grows from this point, through 7 years of Uranus in Gemini, through the complete revolution of how you think and communicate and connect, will carry the specific quality of whatever you planted on May 30th when the soil was fresh and the darkness was complete, and the revolutionary ground was receiving its first seed. Write in the comments the seed you are planting, the specific intention for the 7-year Gemini territory. Not the safe version, the one that matches the scale of the revolution the soil was prepared for. Subscribe and turn on the bell, because as the seed germinates through the first lunar cycle, I will walk you through what emerges, how to recognize the first growth, how to tend it without disturbing it, and how to ensure that what was planted in the most revolutionary soil in 84 years grows into the structure the next 7 years of your life are built around. The universe has spoken. What comes next is in your hands. There is one more dimension to this new moon that connects it to the entire sequence the sky has been running since February. Because the seed you plant on May 30th does not grow in isolation. It grows in the specific soil that every major transit of this year has been preparing. Saturn and Neptune declared the new ground at 0 degrees Aries, the ground that says the structure serves the dream. Jupiter in Cancer excavated the emotional depth, the specific awareness of what you actually need. Mars in Aries provided the first action, the direction, and the first physical step. Venus retrograde revised the desire, the honest version of what you want. Mercury in Gemini sharpened the mind, the cognitive clarity to see the pattern. Mars in Taurus began the construction, the patient daily building at the speed of stone. And now the new moon in Gemini says, given everything this sequence has produced, given the ground that was declared and the depth that was excavated and the direction that was found and the desire that was revised and the clarity that was achieved and the building that was begun, what is the seed that all of this has been preparing for? The new moon is not asking you to start something separate from the year's work. It is asking you to plant the seed that the year's work was always building toward. The seed that integrates everything: the structural insight, the emotional depth, the honest desire, the clear thinking, the patient building. One seed that carries all of it. Planted in the most revolutionary soil in 84 years, growing for 7 years, and becoming, through those years of growth, through the revolution Uranus is performing on how the entire species thinks and communicates, the specific structure that this sequence of transits was composing from the very beginning. This is why May 30th is not an ordinary new moon. It is the new moon that the entire year has been pointing toward. The planting that everything else was preparation for. And the seed? Yours to choose, yours to shape, yours to press into the ground with the specific intention that 7 years of revolutionary growth deserves. Plant it. The soil is ready. The darkness is the condition. And what grows from here will carry the quality of everything the sky composed this year to bring you to this exact moment of planting.